And looks like we're creating. Pardon me, I'm just kind of looking over some notes that I put together for myself because, I'm a systems guy, if you haven't figured that out yet. And one of the things, it's like, I when I put things out for the world to see and do, it's like I try to be as mindful as I can in the steps because in the event that you're going to like take any advice from me, or if you do decide to hire me for certain things, um, I like to just make sure that I got all my T's crossed and my I's dotted because that's important to me. Very much so. Anyway, I'm gonna set that there for now. Put that there. Say good morning again. It is December the 13th. That's a Saturday, by the way, in case you missed it. Yes, I got a whole pot in here today. And am I going to drink this whole pot? Possibly. But the main reason I've got the whole pot, I wanted this particular blend versus Alicia does not like this particular blend. So I just made a pot and it works out. So, how are you this morning, kids? I want to talk about something that really jumped out at me last night, and I wanted to see if you might perhaps be feeling it too. Now, over the years, we've kind of seen like a diminishing thing when it comes to like the Christmas stuff out. I mean, don't get me wrong, retail, yeah, sure, they still blast us immediately after Halloween or in the middle of Halloween with Christmas product, but that's not what I'm talking about. Here's the story. So last night, I was out and about getting gasoline at, it was Casey's, right? I bounced between Casey's and Murphy's here in town. But anyway, in that, when I walked in, I wasn't thinking much about it other than it kind of jumped out at me that this is like the first time I recall where I didn't see the store itself decorated. Just a little. There was like, of course, like the stack of Pepsis, that are the 12 packs that are all pointed up to look like a tree, but Pepsi's blue does not look like Christmas ever to me. So it was just a pyramid that had little other cases mixed in to represent ornaments, I guess. But still, it didn't have the feel. It didn't have the look. Why? I don't know. Maybe is it the economy, stupid? Is it the just the fragmentation of people as a whole? Because we live in an on-demand world now, so we don't have that benefit of watching everybody watching that Charlie Brown Christmas special with that terrible little tree, a heart-wrenching depression that comes from watching Charlie Brown, with that little bit of a moral thing at the end. I don't know for sure, but I think that really does have a lot of it because we are just so disconnected because we don't have what we do have has already existed for like 50 years. I mean, I've never grown up in a world without the Charlie Brown Christmas special. And it's interesting because, again, inside of the pop culture water cooler talk thing, everything has shifted so dramatically in the past 10 years with the advent of the internet and now social media and all that, that everybody gets to pick and choose what we do and don't do, right? So there's that. I don't know. Oh, it's Saturday morning, so it's like I don't know. Maybe I get a little bit more mindful on the weekends. Maybe I don't know because again, in this space of the entrepreneur, um, you never really stop. You never really turn off, and that can be bad because I kind of dove into that again myself last night, thinking about the numbness of it all for me. Okay. I genuinely, truly enjoy everything that I do. When I come out and talk to you like this and building my own consistent pattern and providing just a place to hang out and talk for a minute, drink some coffee, and maybe have a laugh or two, which maybe we'll have one this morning. We'll try. But, and exploring things of the day that's not, you know, they're just the same old talking points because that's the bad part. It's like what I see, since the algorithm feeds you what you look for, okay? It's not necessary. Well, it is manipulating us, but at the same time, it's by our own choices, right? Um, it's not really. It provides things that may appear to be kind of new, but that's what they are. They're kind of new. They're data sets that reflect off of the data set they know that we like, you know? Um, and thinking about that, it's very dystopian. It seems like it's a freedom because you can do what you want when you want and how you want, but you aren't necessarily doing that. Let me get this thing worked out so as comments come in, I'm going to do my best to follow along because again, this is about us chatting. And good morning to my bestest of buddies in this space, Damien. Good morning, bud. And Gar, you and I are going to definitely have a good long chat tomorrow. So, but yeah, and there you go. Let's see, what did you say there, Gar? Good decor is in our hearts, even if it's not in front of us. Yes, we'd love to see a nice Santa Claus display. That's true. But now here, let me go a little bit deeper on that, buddy. Is that in that space? You're right. I mean, it's like, home is where the heart is, right? But well, let's talk about that collective. Because when you collectively experience something, then everybody collectively digs it. It's that cultural phenom. And again, for us Gen Xers, we got the golden age, really. I mean, sure, the boomers, they got the start of it all, which was great, and established that feel and that societal vibe that they passed on to us. But then as we continued to grow and we had kids and they had kids, that's kind of where we are now, right? And it's like it just kept getting watered down, and now it's just fed through the nostalgia lens. And when things are fed through the nostalgia lens, it's really it's not, well, it's forced. I want to say it's not necessary. No, it is forced. It really is. I mean, think about it. It's like kids today, they are probably more familiar with Charlie Brown and Snoopy through a plush in a store than basically forced viewership in primetime television during the Christmas season, right? And so many other things apply like that. Like, gosh, it's funny when you look back on it. And again, when we had the innocence of youth and we were like watching the cartoons either on Saturday morning or the syndicated ones that started coming out in the afternoons for the daily stuff, which was mind blowing, right? Every day's a cartoon on television. Whoa, that was a very revolutionary thing. So, but thinking about it, so I watched this little, I guess you'd call it maybe a little mini doc on YouTube. Guy, and it was great though. But like, he was talking about, you remember the cartoon Mask? I remember it. It was okay. Whatever. But it was a very, very, very strategic creation of Kenner, because what had happened is Kenner had been riding the Star Wars high for a long time, but by 1985 Return of the Jedi had already came and gone for 2 years at that point, and the other Star Wars stuff, which like the Saturday morning cartoons of Ewoks and droids, they were boring, and the toy tie-ins were just repaints of the stuff that had already been. So from a company standpoint, Kenner was like, okay, we've got issues, plural. So what was the hottest ticket going then? You had twofold. You had G.I. Joe, which was syndicated, and Transformers, also syndicated. So, but they also were 22-minute commercials for toys, and that's perfectly fine. But I never had a problem with that. Even like looking back, I'm cool with it because at least those 22-minute commercials are entertaining. And if they weren't, they went away pretty quick. But what Kenner did is they sat down and they looked both at those super hot properties that were they were killing it on the television, but more importantly, they were killing it in the toy aisles and ringing the register. So Mask took the best of both worlds. For that first season, they established their characters as basically GI Joe, but independent. And then the Transformers were their vehicles would transform into these awesome little war machines, right? The Camaro that like had the little pop up like DeLorean doors, and then it had guns that came out and rocket engines, and it could fly, and it was awesome, and it was fun, and it was like the best of both worlds. And it popped well. It did very, very well. That first season, it was great. But then when they got to season two, somebody in corporate planning and creative, which normally are never one and the same, um, screwed the pooch all the way across the board. They changed the storyline from the action and adventure and espionage and all that into a show about racing. It was lame and boring, and I because I remember I barely remember the fact. I'm like, oh, this is lame. It's like, and I'll say it, and for some of you older Gen Xers, this may come across as blasphemous, But like Speed Racer, I always thought it was just okay. Yeah, I love the look. I love the color schemes. But the out of sync mouths on animation, that didn't do anything for me. I'm not a Japanimation guy, or never have been. But I mean, I enjoyed Speed Racer being on, but it had a great aesthetic, but that was about it. But yeah, see, there you go, Exo Squad. There you go, Damien, and He Man most certainly, and there was absolutely no doubt that that was solely built by Mattel. Well, because it was a toy line first, and then when they partnered up with Filmation to create the cartoon, and while the cartoon and the toy line didn't look the same at all, two totally different visual styles, which is cool. I mean, it was like it still was close enough. I even cover it in the book, as a matter of fact, when I talk about, because when I first got introduced to Masters of the Universe, my mom had actually went to a yard sale a couple streets over, and this was like when they first launched. So I don't know which family it was and what kid got their heart broken or just didn't like it or whatever, but like had damn near the whole collection that was out at the time. And mom scooped the whole thing up for like 20 bucks. I'm talking about Castle Grayskull, the whole 9 yards, and brought it home, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And I guess that was, 83, 84, something like that. And it was cool. And then here comes the cartoon, and I was like, they don't look the same, but this is still cool. And it was a fun toy line. So I'll still give Mattel props for that. Because that was really cool. Yep. Oh no, that's cool, Damien. Go for it. It's like, and that's the thing. It's like the cartoons again, I know for us in that Gen X category, because it's funny, like the boomers, they just walked away from it and went on to be good, productive members of society, to go to work for 40 years and retire with a pension and all that, which wasn't necessarily really the case, but a lot of them did. That was our society, and it was a pretty good setup for the time. Changed, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, we got the golden age of this stuff. We really, really did. When you look at the stuff in the 70s and definitely the early to mid 80s, man, we had it good. We really, really did. Because I mean, regardless of, the culturally, it was fantastic because again, we all had the thing, man, because we were also inside of a three network world. So you had ABC, NBC, and CBS, and since it was a money thing for ratings, they put the effort and the money into the stuff, into the programming, and it was, on the whole, it was good. Some of it was kind of dumb, like, but I still liked it. What was the one show? The guy turned Turbo Man. What? No, not Turbo Man. Turbo Teen. He turned into the car. Remember, you like threw cold water on him or something, and he turned into a car. That was fun to play when you'd be playing with the kids in the neighborhood, and you throw a bucket of water on them, see if they turn into a. I did that. I did. I really did. I never said I was a smart guy, nor was I a smart child. I just thought it was fun. I wasn't even being mean. We were actually just playing. So here, there you go. And there'd always be the one kid. Ours was Jerry, and and he turned into a car, and that was a pretty funny visual. Flashing back in my head now, but yeah. But again, it's that collective thing that we're missing now. And at Christmas time, when that whole winter season depression is there anyway, and then it evolved into just being holiday depression, um, because of the Christmas association. When it's just winter, it's colder, it's darker earlier, it's, the weather potential can definitely landlock you, and that just kind of sucked. And it's like with this morning's pick with Flip, for the calendar. If you weren't familiar, again, Leslie Wright. Thanks, buddy. Get well soon. But it's like with Bizzaro, it was about the best representation I could think of, the best totem I could think of when it comes to talking about this particular story and angle. Excuse me. Um, because Bizarro's not necessarily an evil character. He's not. He hung out with the evil guys because he fit in better there, I guess, because he was just causing too much unfortunate and not necessarily meant to be bad stuff. But if everything is backwards, then, well, there you go. But then again, we now live in a society, truthfully, be real, everything is backwards from what we knew. Gen X, that is, I'm speaking directly to us. It's all backwards now. And so in that, One of the things that we do is like the same thing our parents did to us and our grandparents did to them is we blame the generation on themselves when it's really not their fault. We led this. We did because the acquiescence that we allowed for in societal change, and Gen X was funny because we saw what the boomers did, like with the hippie stuff, and went, that really wasn't the greatest idea, but it was kind of fun to do what you feel, what you do if it tickles. But we also realized, because we saw our grandparents' influence, who said, "No, that's dumb. Don't do it." But our parents were like, "No, man, we love this part. It's great." And again, it's on us. But how do we fix it? I don't know. Other than try to be the best humans we can be with that perspective, and that's why Gen X, I think, is kind of dangerous in the conversation because we do have that hybrid. We had the parents who had the influence of that hippy dippy counterculture movement where their parents were, the greatest generation with World War II and that collective Eisenhower build America with interstates and all of that. So they were grounded. And so um, we've never been, and even now, I wouldn't say kids today are rebellious at all. If anything, their rebellion, I would say, is just trying to find an anchor because they don't have one. They really don't. Everything is free willing, right? And I'm not going to go into the politics of it because they don't matter other than it's the politics of it that created it. So in that, I don't care what side you're on. If you're a hardcore whatever side, I'm not even going to say one in particular because they're all the same in that. Because if it felt good, they let you do it because it got them elected. And that's just truth. And then that kept them in the money and the power. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that phrase is as old as time. And it's true. So, but yeah, Damien, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, He-Man, they were fantastic, and it's like even those, well, especially like with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's the one that came way, Johnny Come Lately for me, and I was already going into the teen years and everything. So, but I caught them. I'd see them, and then like my cousins were really into them. They're a little bit younger than me, and I have a deep appreciation for that property. Why exactly? I haven't completely pinned down. Other than I love the backstory of the turtles with Eastman and Laird, how they came up with the whole thing, and then how it just turned into a juggernaut that they themselves didn't see coming. Led to a falling out between the two eventually after the movie, the first movie. But then just seeing how it is adapted generationally, some of them hit, some of them didn't. The art styles and everything that came along. I'm fascinated by that. I mean, I got a drawer down here of a bunch of turtle stuff that I picked up earlier in the year that I don't know. I kind of wanted to explore, and didn't know exactly where I was going with stuff again, as far as like doing reviews or because I didn't want to go back there because that's boring as hell to me. Unboxing, reviewing stuff now, and yeah, seeing in the comic books. See again the Eastman and Laird stuff, the original stuff. Um, but I just love the aesthetic, and with this being like I think it was the 40th anniversary this year, or last year into this year, and so they did all the different iterations of the art and I couldn't help myself. And one of the best things about living around these parts is pop culture stuff has never really been a big thing for whatever reason. So I can wind up getting stuff like super cheap. So anyway, but yeah, and I'm going to sit down at some point because I think it's a fascinating story for me. So I'm going to tell it. If just for me, if nobody else wants to see it, that's okay. Because again, I'm not living for ratings and clicks and such anymore. I'm over that. Thank God I broke that whole dopamine addiction in it. Because it was rough. I did it plenty of times. Quick shout out though, Gar, you already know, and no spoilers, I guess, or maybe it is a spoiler. I don't know. But what Gar is doing tonight on Horrible Horror is just exactly what we need because now the feature is the Monsters Christmas one. Anyway, he's gonna do that tonight. And if you guys would grab the link to Gar's show over on Twitch, put that in the comments. Because one of the things that I've always loved about what Gar does with Horrible Horror is he has not just captured, but evolved the experience that is that television, excuse me, that horror host television thing. You know, that was at one point in time it was a local regional thing. Everybody had their guy or gal or whatever, and but then they slowly faded away due to corporatization and everything. And Gar, though, he's been just cooking along for what, 20 years now, buddy, and it's great because again, it's something that um, not only represents what was, but he's evolved because think about it, he is streaming on the internet. He was doing that before anybody else was. There might have been a few out there. Well, there were a few. I'd talked to some of the guys like Undead Johnny and um, Ormond Grimsby. I loved his art direction. Oh my god, that dude was so talented. Man, he is, I guess. But I don't know what they're doing anymore. I don't think any of them are. But Gar, here he goes, trucking right along every Saturday night. And from what he's been informing and educating me on when it comes to Twitch, it's awesome because using the Twitch platform, it archives it, so you can go back and watch the others. And the best part about Gar is, and I don't know if you even do this intentionally, buddy, at all, but it's like he is so timeless in every presentation. It's like literally you could pick up any episode, and I can guarantee you it's not dated. It's just a good show. And it's well done and thought out and planned. And the bits and the gimmicks, like the recurring stuff, like the Swedish girl singing about the ducks. I love that. If you send a link, put a link in. I love that damn thing. It's just the funniest thing ever. To me, it just is. It's playing in my head right now, and I just absolutely love that. That just cracked me up so damn much. Because where else would you get that? You won't. You know, it's like he curates some of the most interesting stuff that, again, you were an algorithm before there were algorithms, buddy. There it is. So there's the link there. The German girls, German. Pardon me for misappropriating their culture, Damien. But I just absolutely love that. Oh my God, that one just cracks me up. There, I could never get enough of that. I know I used to hound you about that, even though you're like, dude, it's not part of this show. I'm like, so what? Make it that way, because this is damn funny. Um, I don't think it was intentionally meant to be funny. I think it was like a children's programming thing there, and there, just love that. But anyway, it's those things right there that inside of this crazy space that is the internet and trying to connect and all that, to where I'm doing this, man. It's like I had to get back out, not for me in the sense I needed the structure and consistency and stability just for myself. And I miss doing morning radio. Now, mind you, I haven't done morning radio in a long time. I mean, hell, the last morning radio that I did, I wasn't the host, so I didn't get to be the funny guy. I was the news guy, and that was back in 2008. And just, it is what it is. But, I just wanted that. And it gave us, and truthfully, I mean, it gave me the 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 stability and focus that I needed to get really focused. And then that's where I built this whole three pillar system. Take a note. If you're feeling frustrated and out of sorts in the stuff that you're doing, be it in business or hobby or whatever, my three pillar thing has worked phenomenal for me. And what are those three pillars? Once again, one product, one service, one project. And it works because they're anchors, and they're great because they cover more of my interests, so not one thing uh, is demanding all the attention, or I don't scatter out from one of those things into other things. The book, Toys or Totems, it's such again, it was a helpful thing for me. And when you get the opportunity to read it, I hope it can do something for you too. I do, and I think it will. Because again, in a scattered, disconnected world, this can help you just center back in on you. When it comes to the service, as far as either providing the service or training folks to create evergreen content versus willy nilly just do something, the hope there is to not only give you a system that can get you organized and consistent in what you're doing, but also prime your message to where you're talking to the people that matter most to you, which are the ones who are already supporting you by either their membership or their business or your business, whatever, right? They're shopping with you. And talk to them. Get away from the scattershot, run schedule, brand building thing. You'll eventually scale that and it'll just happen that way so long as you take care of the people who take care of you. I will die on that rock because I just know it's true. And I can prove it with a lot of things like this podcast. If I was relying on the numbers of viewers and all that on this podcast, oh Lord, I would have canceled myself 20 episodes back. But that's not why I'm here. Not at all. It's a way of me connecting with people again and reestablishing a voice, if you will, on certain things to stay within the three pillars. But also, I know that with the skill set that I've developed over all these decades now, that I can, if there's a like a need or a problem, I can help spread the word on things, you know. And that's not to brag or boast or pedestalize myself. It's just the skill set I've been born into and developed over all these years. So to be able to help, which here's a quick update on the golf cart auction, it closed out with $350. I don't know who the winning bid was, but I do know all those proceeds are going to Children's Charity Ministry here in town, and they do like the backpack programs, and it's like the weekend backpack programs, not just. I mean, these folks do an amazing thing in getting food into the hands of kids who don't necessarily have it at home, and I've just love the concept and the idea since it was first inceptionalized, gosh, 15, 16 years ago now. They're great people. And it also goes in loving memory and for the legacy of Liz Witt and Mary Jean Krieger, which we lost way too soon. I mean, it was just too much, and it was all back to back to back. And it just they believed in it and they did so much good stuff for that organization to raise awareness, to raise money, and to do the things, and it was fitting. And so for Rick and Shirley Schoenberger with Backstreet Trader to donate the cart to be the auction item, it just shows how wonderful they are. And that's why I'll tell you, it's like anything you want to. If you're on to go out and stroll around, start downtown, which starts on Stevenson at Backstreet Trader. That's just the way I feel about it. You're not going to change my mind. If you try, you're wasting your time because I don't care. I really don't. So, yeah. But yeah, it's like to establish certain things in organ. And that's the thing I have to come to terms with in a lot of this stuff too. Because I have always been notorious, and Alicia has tried to shake me for years and years and years. I give it away, always have. But that's like part of the problem. I say problem, but part of like the mindset that comes from like a broadcasting career on the programming side of things, my job in programming is to be the shaved monkey who just entertains you, your viewer or listener, and so on. That's my job, to get your attention to where you'll pay attention to everything else. And I truly relish that job. I love that job. Again, it's like in my younger days, there was some ego involved. Of course, there was. But as I got older, I come to respect it and I appreciate it. And I respect the microphone. I respect the camera. And I damn sure respect the audience because without an audience, you have no need for a camera or a microphone. That here in Bizzaro World, however, is a lost concept. And do it, knock yourself out. Freedom of speech, right? Go for it. Um, See, and that's what I like, Red, what you said there. It's like, whether anyone else ever showed up, you're still going to do that show. And that is so admirable. And I have admired you for that since the first time I knew you existed, Secret Squirrel. And yeah, it's like, you know, when it's just who you are, it's who you should be. And that's, again, another one of those phrases that have been so co opted for political reason and gain. Be who you are, regardless. Well, yeah, unless you're a serial killer, don't do that. If you feel the need to present yourself in a manner in which you're going to serve the public, but you insist upon doing it in garb and wear that is either just visually ugly, stop it. And then don't get mad when people look at you. Man, look at that. It's like people aren't, well, they're judging you, of course, because you brought the attention, but don't get mad when they do. I mean, let's get real. If you got blue hair, you want somebody to look at you. Okay. And I'm not judging. Do you? Go ahead, knock yourself out, but understand there are consequences. Me wearing this silly hat has consequences. This old gray, gruffy beard has consequences. Everything does. But that's normal. It really is. Again, and I'll stand by this little phrase that I've jotted down as kind of a mantra of my own. You know, every human being is unique, but darn a damn one of us are special by default. We're not. We are unique, but you ain't special. Now, you can do special things, which adds to your uniqueness, but it doesn't make you special. We all breathe the same air. We all bleed the same blood. That's what we do. We all come in and we all expire. There's a date that we don't know, but it's pretty much guaranteed. And what's scary now is inside of like what is called the conspiracy circles, is that our goal of this technocratic doomscape that's not just on the horizon, but here is that, they're working on what they believe is immortality as far as being able to upload consciousness or program consciousness into a computer and placed in a robot or whatever, however they want consciousness to continue. And the truth is, I mean, with just right now where we sit with like the large language models from the different AI platforms out there, I mean, the scariest one I've seen, which I knew was going to happen, I knew this was going to happen. It's been a little while back, but what this one particular app does, don't remember the name of it. You can take with this app, you can throw in a couple pictures of someone, and then if you tell the story of them or whatever you have and plug that in as the data set, and then they mimic that person. Okay. But the way they present it is the horrifying part, because the way that particular ad that I saw, and it's a real ad, okay, that this app will let you interact with grandma. Grandma's no longer with us. Well, you took the picture, took the stories, whatever, before grandma split the mortal coil, but then you can still interact with grandma. No, you can't. And then next, your kids can interact with your grandma, their great grandma. No, they can't. And so on and so on. Because with it being an AI model, it will be generative in what it says from that data set, right? So grandma of 200 years ago will be able to evolve in the conversation. No. But that's also another reason why I say write a book, journal your stuff for the sake of future generations. But hopefully, man, I mean, it's scary because actually that information right there could become the data set that can be plugged into one of those things. And then you live on eternally, sort of, inside of like, just, it's weird, man, but it's real. That's the thing. Our modern life was yesterday's science fiction. We still don't have flying cars, and I'm not complaining about that. And the reason I'm not complaining about flying cars is people have now gotten to the point in society they can't handle land ones at all. I mean, seriously, the driving patterns of people now is insane. Locally, just last week, there was a tragedy here. Multi-car pileup. 2 people died, all over whatever reason. Doesn't matter, because the way people drive now is insane. Ever since the whole 2020 broke the planet thing, people's social skills started doing this, and now it's like flatlining. And just common courtesy on the road is a rare thing. Crazy, 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 crazy. On any day of the week now. It's weird, man. But is it by design? Maybe. Because the social norms are ugly now. They really are. Just saying. But I know I sound like a downer this morning, but I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm trying to like put things out there so we can look at it and think about it. And then think about how we course correct on some things. We can't go backwards. That's never going to happen. No, 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 no. The genie continue. New genies keep popping out of the bottles all the time. And with these genies popping, popping, out of the bottle, and you're not going to ever cork it. Like the internet will never go away. It will morph into different ways of distributing it, but it's not going to go away. The thing with the AI systems, they were in place long before you and I were told. And what's funny is I love how they start, because again, it's always new and exciting and different. Look at what we did today, when it's not true. It actually happened a decade or two ago, but we're just letting you in on the secret now, right? Because society gets nudged in those directions. Because if people just got hit full force with what's, I mean, it's like I can write a book and be bang ready to go, but I know there's got to be some priming to get it to where people will accept that book. And I'm not talking about like some kind of life changing thing here, but I'm just saying there's always a priming period, to get people adjusted, or you're waiting for someone else to do the priming so then you can move into that spot without so much resistance. Me personally, I know here locally, I've been ahead of the curve on a lot of things, not because I'm brilliant, but because I've paid attention. I've noticed patterns. I actively keep an eye on not trends so much, but new things. And it's I'll never forget when Twitter first came on the scene. I was leaving over on Woodland Heights where the Reynolds Media Studios were, and I got in the car and I was going somewhere and I was listening to like NPR, and a story came on talking about this Twitter thing, and they were doing an interview with what was that bunghole's name? The guy who started Twitter that wound up being shamed out of existence. Forgot his name. Anyway, but he's not one of the players anymore. But anyway, but when I heard about it, this is before. I mean, it was launched, but nobody was using it or doing anything. I listened to what he was saying and what was happening. I said, "That's going to be huge." I actually called Alicia and said, "Make a note of this one." And the same thing came along with QR codes. I remember around here, man, when codes came around, and just my imagination went with, "What else can you do with this thing?" If you didn't know, it was um, see exactly, and perhaps you'll influence someone else to carry on your work when the time comes. Again, that's a positive of things, but that's why I say a book is good more so than taking your book, getting it implanted into a generative AI system that evolves sort of you, kind of predicting where you're going or where you would go, possibly, theoretically. Yes, and I think that can be true to an extent, but there's also the bigger problem is there's no barometer on those things. Like you and I, we can say, okay, well, here's this idea I've got, and then the creativity starts, that human creativity, right? That some comes from influences, some comes from just something totally, where the hell did that come from? And you apply it and you nurture it and you grow it, but then you get to a point where like you hit a part of it, you throw it in there, you're like, oh no, that's dumb. And you stop and you pull back and you readjust and you pivot it. Uh, but will the AGI be able to do that? Will it be able to see where the creative flow came to what isn't a logical stopping point? One part logic, I guess, because it didn't work or it was went the way off the rails. And in going off the rails, could have just branched off to a new idea. That's possible. But what will it do? What will it be capable of? Again, it's artificial intelligence. It's not that it's not a very handy tool for data research and data mining and getting in there and doing deep research on things, maybe, as long as it's got its pathways and sources correct. Because think about it. Imagine this: if AI was 100% data sourced from Wikipedia, the online encyclopedia that could be edited by any Joe Blow. That's dangerous territory right there, because somebody could decide that 2 plus 2 does equal 5. And that's what the machine says, and all you're getting your information from is the machine, then 2 plus 2 equals 5. Yes, I went Orwellian, but here we are, right? Well, that's pretty cool that you're on IMDb now, man. Cool. That is awesome. See, and little things like that are awesome and they're great. And and your efforts deserve to be archived in that manner. I've been saying that to you forever, and you blew it off because you're a humble guy. And I appreciate that. I truly do. But at the same time, you do something amazing, buddy. You really do. Dude, I've made toys of you because I just love the idea of making car toys. I'm going to come back to that at some point because actually I do have some ideas that, again, I want to jot down, and I'm just going to send you, and you go, "That's pretty dumb," and I'm going to say, "Yeah," and you'll be like, "Yeah, that's cool." So I don't know, but I got some ideas kicking around, and now that I got the Magic Santa box, I can make all kinds of stuff now. So I'm really looking forward to that. So anyway, I hear the girls are all getting packed up. We're fixing to. The plan this morning, like I had said yesterday morning, is we're going to go up and do the breakfast buffet at Golden Corral in Branson. Again, kids, it's not a paid thing at all. You won't have a paid thing on here except for my own book. That's it. It's the only thing I'm selling you, and that's still on you. But the Golden Corral breakfast up there in Branson is fantastic. I think it's like $12.99 for locals. Which, if you're in Harrison, you're a local, and you're in the region, you're a local. I think that's what it is. I think it's $12.99, and you get the drinks included, which is huge, right? Because that's like normally the offset cost of every time you're going to go out is the cost of drinks. But the food is good, and again, I love the staff. They're good folks. They do a great job. And again, the manager, GM Mike, he is so refreshing in that he is a fellow who's been in the food service industry and food service management for going on 3 decades now, and he genuinely enjoys his career choice. He just does, and it's like it's that craftsmanship. I don't think is the right, but an appreciation of the craft that he has chosen, and I just think it's great. I really, really do. It's and again, there's nothing wrong. There's dignity in all work. Um, Gar 2 plus 2 does equal 5. You have to carry the one, bruh. Why not? What the hell? I mean, remember that thing that one thing popped with Terrence Howard, the whole thing with one. What was it? It was with 1 times 0 equaling 0 kind of negated all math and whatever. And it was an interesting thought, but it was stoner talk, totally stoner talk. Um, you see, there you go. See, Damien, there you go. He knows. He's the people of Golden Corral and Branson. They're great folks. They really are. So that's just an endorsement to just tip the hat, give a nod to people doing a good job, because we all need a little pat on the back sometimes. But yeah, that the whole thing with the number thing with Terrence Howard. I mean, again, it was stoner talk, and it was interesting stoner talk. But that's really all it was. It was stoner talk, and but it was fun. It was a fun thought experiment to go down, because it's weird. I mean, we did have to put in the concept of 0 to make all of it work as far as the way we do math. I mean, because 0 is nothing. Well, how do you represent nothing? Well, 0. Okay, well that makes sense. But anyway, I remember Stoner talk about 0 being the first number, but it couldn't be the first number because it was nothing. You know? Oh gosh, I've had some wonderfully dumb conversations over the decades, and I'm glad to continue them. Um, oh yeah, see the Neil deGrasse Tyson guy, he's one of those ones in the public space that I've always found to be, watch your ears, kids, full of shit. I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's talking about, but the way in which he presents things and himself, he's full of shit. He's too absolute in science, where my understanding of science is while it's searching for an absolute, its process cannot be absolute. Because if you have absolute in science, then you're not conducting experiments to then get to a conclusion of some sort. And yes, there are certain things that once upon a time ago were these spooky magic alchemic things that turned out to have a scientific basis, meaning it could be tested and proven over and over and over again, or recreated or reproduced over and over again. Okay, sure, fine. But then there are things that we still do not and cannot explain. Uh huh. See, there you go. You're breaking my hat, dude. Or you're breaking my hat, which is holding my head in place. Anyway, but yeah, it's that 0 has to have value, but it doesn't. Oh. But again, just thinking about all this stuff, it's good conversation. And one day, if they're going to do anything with this technology, and we're going to get sucked completely into this technocratic, hellscape, then damn it, I want the ability to transport for real, like, or teleport, like Star Trek, right? I want to be able to say, this podcast thing is fun, but it would be far more cool to be able to crack the mic up and say, yo, Gar, Damien, don't have coffee? And everybody's here. And we're just having coffee together in the same room. And that would be great. And then we could just and get back to our corners. Now Damien and I, would be a little bit easier for us to get together for the coffee for something like this. He's just kind of right up the road. Gar, however, that's a good stretch. You know? So if they figure that part out, or if they actually got the hologram thing to really work on in a commercial setting, to where people could actually do that, have like the hologram screens, to where we could all be right there, that'd be cool. It's like if we had like real, like, like the stuff you saw in Star Wars with the Jedi Council sitting around talking to each other in real time as holograms. That would be cool. I could be good with that. But I don't want to have to wear glasses, like the meta glasses, which no. I don't want that. I don't want screens in front. It's fun because, like, for my birthday this year, Alicia did pick these up for me. And this is brilliant. Okay, this is absolutely brilliant. They're a little limited because they're sunglasses, so you would want to be outside. Otherwise, you just look like a creep online. But these are cool because they get like the Bluetooth. They're not earbuds now because they're built into the glasses. But you got speakers that Bluetooth your stuff into your head. Right? It's already there. Get over it. We're all going to have those tumors. But it's like I just love this. I think it's so fun, and I'm so glad she got it for me. But now, as far as like the smart glasses, they're supposed to like have the stuff on screen in your lenses. I don't want that in my life. Can you imagine? Because that's really well, you will see people just all straight up Ray Charles and Stevie wondering the world, but they're not. They're just immersed in what they're seeing on their lenses. Nah, man. I don't. I just don't. Well, you might be for you. It ain't for me. I don't want that. I really don't. But I do love these because, again, I like the idea. I like because I've got this one set of earbuds. I will make a recommendation to you. Again, this is not a paid or endorsed thing at all. Plus, Walmart doesn't pay anybody anything, right? But I did come across these earlier this year, and you'll find them at the registers at Walmart. And these are awesome. They're like over the ear. They're the 1999 ones. But anyway, these are awesome. They worked so incredibly well as far as like the whole over the ear Bluetooth thing, because these are the ones that once you put them on, you forget they're there. I mean, hell, I've been known to sleep in them sometimes listening to a book. But these are a great investment. I've bought so many of these and give them as gifts to people because I just like them that much. So anyway, hell, I've got two myself, one for each phone. I've got my current box, and then I've got my old box, which I still use as the supercomputer that it is, even though it's outdated now. The iPhone 12 versus the iPhone 14, which is also outdated at this point. So anyway, I do believe the girls have left, so we can do these things. I need to go get myself prepped and ready for breakfast. Got to put on the stretchy pants. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't care. It's one of those things. This is my once a week. Yeah, it will remove the problem of hearing someone else's noise from their earbuds, and that's what those little ones there do too. Because it's like they're not quite the bone conductive ones, which freaked me out at first. But then yeah, hell, all things I've done, but they're not bad at all. The bone yeah, conductive, conducive, whatever. Anywhere where it just rattles your eardrum and shares that way, so it doesn't emit. Um, I wonder who this is. Oh, hey, I need to confirm with this guy. I got a friend request. So anyway, I need to do that because again, when I've the virtual stump, another thing I want to just kind of touch on is 8:47, and I really do need to get my button gear and get ready to hit the road here in just a few. But another thing that I want to kind of point out when it comes like this whole thing of the cultural water cooler talk stuff, that's another one of the things behind the project that is the virtual stump. Is like I'm very serious in my intent to create or to have created a central hub spotlight for that one mission and purpose to just connect candidates with constituents. It's not meant to be an all-inclusive campaign stop thing. No, not at all. But at least if you've got one place you can look here in Boone County to know who's running for what, so you can actually know who they are on their versus just a name on a ballot that you're like, who the hell is this? To at least start there, start the conversation, and then you're like, well, that guy's got something interesting to say. Where can I learn more? And then you can go. I got it all linked out there, and that's a totally free community service thing. Doesn't make me special at all. It's not. I'm going for some bozo award or blue star or ribbon or no. It's just it needed to be done, and so I did it, and I will continue to do it. And now Alicia and I have considered that. Well, pretty much decided we are taking it statewide, and hopefully I don't want to have the market on this thing. I don't want to have a monopoly on it at all. I hope to encourage someone else to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, there is on the backside the opportunity for someone to purchase a service from me if they want me to do a thing for them. Sure, why not? I'm a capitalist. I like making sure we can pay the bills, but that's not its intent. But it's a happy byproduct of it. And because right now, here, I'll give you the inside baseball. You want some? The truth of the matter is thinking about how do you move forward, Jim, in a very, very hard economy. You can't guarantee return on investment for businesses as far as like advertising, marketing services. And I wouldn't want to do that if I couldn't do it with a clear conscience. So, what do? I build something that's useful, evergreen content, teaching people how to do it themselves. Better to teach a man to fish than just feed him. I firmly believe in that. But sometimes you don't have time, but you need it now. And so I'll do it. And it's cool. And I dig it. And I like it. But at the end of the day, I had to get into a space that is probably the most recession proof thing in the world right now, political campaigns, because they have money, they have no choice but to spend. But it's my onus to create a service and a product that is worthy of that money. And I think I've done that. I'm actually very confident in that because I'm teaching more than just putting together a stack of stuff and saying, here, go for it, which is what you get if you hire me to do it. Here's a stack of stuff, and I give it to you. But also, it's going to give you lasting value that transcends just what that one message is. Because imagine this, say you're running for office. I'm just going to plant this seed here. You're running for office and you know you got to have this stuff so you can engage with people, and it's on you to get it out though. I'll give you some tips on that, but it's on you. I don't have your transmitter, but you do. But I give you this package. I give you some suggestions on how to schedule it out to where you can grow your engagement and consistency. But here's the beautiful part. Most of these folks who are running for office also have a business or a job. And you can take this exact same skill set and skill stack that you're going to either learn through a course or learn by watching me. And I answer questions. I am so transparent. It's totally, and it's antithetical to capitalism because I'd rather teach you. I honest to God would. But that you can apply to other things. You can apply to your business. You can apply to your hobbies. You can apply to your um, social groups, whatever. And because the things that I'm sharing with you to save you time are timeless. They just are. It's like communication, storytelling is timeless. I just help you get organized in it. That's it. Because we all get frazzled. I got frazzled. That's why I had to create what I created so I could get unfrazzled. Life was so much easier once upon. Everybody says that. Oh, once upon a time, it was so much easier, but it was whenever my life revolved around that machine on the wall that went, and I knew inside of those 60 minutes inside of that clock face that there were points I had to hit. I had to hit them. There was no room for error, especially that damn top of the hour when you actually still had to do that. Top of the hour, you hit that legal ID. That was the rules and the law. There was always a little wiggle room, but damn it, you hit that top of the hour. And then, especially in news talk, whenever you're sinking in from all the other things that are coming in, like your news at the top of the hour and bottom of the hour, and then of course when you were working with like syndicated programming, and then they had hard breaks that would hit at 20 and 35 and 45, wherever those hard breaks were, you had to be there. Boom, you were locked into that, and that provided probably the greatest lesson in life I could have ever learned because it absolutely ingrained in me the value of time because 30 seconds is an eternity. Believe it or not, 30 seconds is absolutely and hey Derek, how are you, buddy? uh so yeah, we're all doing all this stuff. There you go. Rundown sheet. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. If you've got a poop sheet, a rundown sheet, poop sheet, whatever you want to call it, the industry term is poop sheet, by the way. But if you've got a poop sheet, which I normally have one here on the desk, but this was more of a Saturday morning, just kind of riffing thing because I really knew what I just wanted to talk about. And again, I've already established my 3 pillar system, and I know I will not deviate from that. Seriously, like I say, I can riff, but I can always come back to that 3 pillar thing. So say I didn't have an idea that I wanted to talk about this. I know I've already established in that 3 pillars that I can always talk about my book. I can always talk about the evergreen content, and I can always talk about my personal project, my community project. Those 3 pillars will save my ass every time. Every single time, because they are locked. And that's what I teach people how to do. And yeah, so D, I hope you're ready, because the plan is to actually be on the road by 9:30. Everybody knows we're going. So anyway, it's no secret. But anyway, but yeah, it's to be out the door at 9:30 and on the road. So to get the most out of that opportunity there at Golden Corral. So anyway, all right, for the sake of production value, I'm going to freshen up my coffee one more time on camera, because this is coffee talk. That's all it is. We have conversations and think about things most people don't think about, and they should. Or at least give it half a thought, something beyond just the other distractions. I hope yours is as good as mine. I really do. Anyway, it's 5 away from the 9 o'clock hour. It is 31 degrees, looking for a high today in the mid 50s in the region of the 72601. I hope you're having a fantastic day everywhere that you are, no matter where you are. Gar, Damien, Derek, let's go have fun today. And everything that you do that you consider fun. And if you're not having fun with it, ask yourself, why not? Just saying. Anyway, kids, have a fantastic one. We'll do it again in the morning, bright and early, 8 a.m. Central Time, Gar. If you know, you know. All right, guys, I got to split and get myself prepped and ready for Derek to join me at the buffet. Talk to you guys later.